Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chat Show, where we talk about empathy, employment, and innovation every Wednesday with thought leaders and experts from the staffing industry and disability community. In today's show, our guest is John Healy. He has been a great thought leader and managing vice president and managing director at Kelly Services, doing some amazing work and talks about future of work as a leader in the staffing industry. With that, John, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining. So, John, tell me, how are you doing?
Well, first off, Nish, thank you for having me. I think what you and the team at Rangam are doing here in bringing this group together and having this conversation about empathy on a regular basis is something that is of really important value to all of the communities that we're a part of. So a big thank you to you and Zule, who I met today, for being here to help those who have different abilities and want to contribute and participate in this conversation as well. So you asked how I'm feeling, and I'm going to tell you it's a very green day. And maybe let me explain it for you, and I'm going to flip it back to you. Because when you say empathy, one of the things is being able to understand how other people are doing. And in today's world, what I find is that we all have a different set of pressures, and they're personal and they're professional and they're coming from all different directions. So just a simple technique that I was taught with a group that I'm part of in trying to address that was for people to just open a meeting by sharing how are they doing today. Red, yellow, green. Red can be those awful things that are going on and it's just not clicking right. We've all had those days. I usually find those happen if you have meetings at the end of the day, you're more likely to find red. Green is things are going really, really well, and yellow is just somewhere in between. And for me, it is a very, very green day. There's a little bit of yellow here and there, but I've had the opportunity today to just really be challenged by a couple people that I work with who had different opinions on something that I wasn't anticipating. And their questions just caused me to open my mind in a different way. And when I can have an experience like that, that feeds me in here and gets me excited. Little yellow because I'm having a challenge with a building project that we're working on, and that's not always going as well as we'd like. But all in all, I would tell you that it's very much a green day. So before we go any further, I need to know how are you doing today, Nish?
I'm doing well. I would say I'm having yellow day. At work, I would say green. But on the family side, I have a little bit challenging. I'm living with my mom, 83-year-old, and some hiccups. But yes, overall at work, I would say green. With family, yes, it's yellow.
Well, mom is always right. I'll just let you know that from the beginning, so get that clear. But encourage the audience. Let us know through the chat. Are you is your day green? Is it yellow? Or is it just a red day? So that if there's anything specific that's jumping out, let us know, and maybe we can help somewhere along the way.
Excellent. Thank you, John. Thank you for sharing. I think this is a great technique. I have experienced that at Kelly in some of the meetings. So I appreciate that you are sharing with our audience. With that, I would like to ask you, what is really the consumer trend? What do you mean when we talk about the staffing industry and employment? Please share your thoughts and what you have seen in this space.
Yeah, so in studying the future of work, one of the phenomenons that really got us thinking a little bit deeper was looking at how our lives, there was this period of time where we always talked about the separation, how do you create work-life balance, and we got to separate the two. Well, we all know that that's gone. Work and life are integrated, they've come together. And so as all that's come together and we all have our smart device of whatever sort we're going to have and things are blended, it started causing us to really ask this question about consumer behavior. And what we started recognizing very quickly was that our tolerance as consumers, as Nish in his personal life, when you're working with your family or with your mother, our tolerance for a bad consumer experience is very low right now.
Mhm.
If the product or the store that we go to suddenly is not servicing us well, we're gone. We won't come back to that. We'll go find someone else who can do it. If a restaurant has poor service, we're going to move on. We're going to try something else along the way. And so if our work life experience has now been merged together, question is, okay, so now my life experience is no longer tolerant of a bad experience. What happens when I have one at work? And
Yeah.
how long will I tolerate that bad experience?
Yeah.
So we engaged with a company called Stylus. They're a New York City and London-based firm who they focus on consumer trends. So they're the ones who are going to tell us, what color shirts we'll be wearing next year, what font you need on the next version of your empathy shirts. They help us truly understand consumer behavior. And
Mhm.
so we engage them to help us explore what are those trends that we should be watching for, and how do we need to behave as employers to think differently. And so we got a set of 8 trends that we explored into that we see as really changing the way people are expecting their work experience. So I'll give you a couple examples to maybe hit on it. One that I think is just really standing out right now is this idea of the multiple me.
Mhm.
So we all know that we all have multiple identities. You referenced you're a business owner. There's one aspect of what Nish does. You're also a son. You've got a mother who is making sure that you're taking good care of her. You're also a father.
Yeah.
You're also a spouse.
Yeah.
And you have other identities that are there, and you experience them throughout your day. And so we need to understand all of those when we think about our workforce and where they come in. You have another one of seeking experiences. So if you think from a consumer perspective, it's no longer enough to go buy a cookbook. I
Mhm.
want to take a cooking class. I want to experience that. And then if I've got more wealth and I want to do something, maybe I want to go to Tuscany and I want to experience learning to cook in
Mhm.
Tuscany to really taste those Italian flavors and have that experience. Or so many kids have decided they want a destination wedding, that we're going to go and it's going to be an experience that I'm
Mhm.
having. So if we want that in our consumer life, what's the experience you're looking for when you come to work? Is it to go sit in a cubicle and not speak to anyone and be in beige all day? Or are you looking for something that's a little bit more vibrant? We've clearly seen that in the change of the physical office space, or the number of people who have chosen a coffee shop as a
Mhm.
place where they're going to work, where they want that energy moving around them, or whether it's WeWork or any of the other type of kind of co-location facilities where people are coming together at the end of the day and they're talking about their businesses and what they're experiencing together. All of those things are different activities that are coming together, changing what our expectations are. And so, the challenge that we put out is, as an individual, one, be conscious of it, because it's changing the choices that you're making about where you want to employ, where you want to work, what it's going to take for that work experience to be one that you feel good about.
Mhm.
And at the same time, if you're an employer, you certainly need to become more conscious of that and understanding how your organization is recognizing all of these patterns and behaviors. And for most companies, they know it more about the consumer. Think of all the drug companies. They know how to market to us. When you watch television, all those commercials that come forward, they're very specifically targeted to the people who are watching that show. So
Mhm.
if those companies know their consumer that well, are they pointing the same resources to know their workforce that well? That's the big opportunity that's being missed today.
Yeah. So that consumer, that candidate experience, I will give you one example. What we have just recently started calling job fair to meet and greet and talent showcase, right? So some of those things, when we are working with people with disability, that's a talent, and instead of having these job fairs. So absolutely, and that's what I really love about you, your work at Kelly. I'm a big fan of you, John. This is really exactly what I really love about you and your thoughts and your thought leadership. So thank you for sharing. Now, if you can give a little bit of back idea on what has changed. As you know, we all are going through this very difficult time, COVID crisis, and during this time, have you seen any changes in this consumer trend, or more or less demand in this concept?
Oh, absolutely. A heightened experience, if anything, in that, to go back to that example of the multiple me.
Mm-hmm.
How many, I don't, Zoom, Teams, Blue Jeans, pick your platform of
Yeah,
choice. LinkedIn Live, let's make sure.
yeah,
How
that's
many
right.
people have you seen interrupted
Yeah,
during the middle of a conversation with a child who has a need, who suddenly homeschooling is calling over there?
yeah,
Something comes in. Well, certainly that's driving a degree of empathy when you see someone experiencing something that you've been through and saying, okay, that's there. But we've also seen people turn their cameras on in a very positive way. One thing that has been remarkable that we've seen in many studies is the degree of confidence that has emerged from workers, because they're now seeing their CEO also at a makeshift desk at their kitchen table.
yeah, yeah.
Suddenly, oh, wait a minute, you're the same. Or, oh, she's my CEO. Nish, how often did you wear a t-shirt going into the office?
Very rare. Very rare.
You were in a shirt and tie every day coming in. Now, oh, okay, Nish wears t-shirts too. You become more relatable, and you become someone that I can understand. So the openness of communication
Mm-hmm.
and the lack of fear of authority and segregation by hierarchy is opening up that idea of the network and really embracing that. You also see it, one of the trends was about third spaces. The idea that your office was being asked to fulfill multiple purposes for people. You know, you saw more companies bringing dry cleaner coming to the office, or a car wash service coming to the office, so that people could use that, so that when they were in the office, they could be more productive. Well, now that third space, it's my home. My home has been transported into not only the place where I live and eat and sleep, but it's now an office, it's now a home school, it's got multiple businesses that are running in it. So all of these different factors are coming together, and it's forcing people to just pause and slow down. I think one of the most fascinating stats, I saw it just last week, since the beginning of COVID, 44.5 million workdays have been gained in the US because we're not commuting. If you take an average commute of 52 minutes a day and you say that's not happening and people are working in place, we've added 44.5 million workdays. So for all those people who are saying, I feel more productive, you are, because you're working more.
Yes.
But also, please take the time, because you're not commuting.
Yeah.
So when you need that break during the middle of the day, you're not going out at lunch for 45 minutes to get your lunch and run a few errands. You're running downstairs, grabbing a sandwich, and probably coming right back to your desk.
Yeah.
Where are you freeing up the time to get those things done? So I think what I'm seeing most in COVID is first this wave of concern about security and safety. I need to feel safe. I need to feel comfortable about that.
Mm-hmm.
Equally, there is a fear amongst many people of job security. That's part of safety, that hierarchy of needs. I want to make sure I still have an income. If I have a job, I need to maintain that. I need that safety for my family and what's there. The risk now is burnout, that people are working themselves so hard and they're not taking the time that they need. They're not taking their vacation time. They're not taking their breaks. They're not taking care of themselves physically. And that's the risk organizations are facing right now. So I think you're beginning to see a momentum shift to move away from, is my team working? Are they doing all they should? To that more empathetic view of, is my team getting all that they need done so that they can bring their best self during the time that they're giving me, versus trying to measure how much time you're giving me.
That's beautiful. That's so amazing. I would definitely I agree that we have become more human, and also the level field is even for everyone, and the hierarchy, and as you mentioned, and in fact, in the area of where we are. Where we do a lot of work hiring people with disability, pretty much the same concept. The level field has, is now even, because now individuals with disability can also work from home, like all of us, we work from home. So a lot of things have changed, and that empathetic approach. So I thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. Before we conclude, uh, please share your last thoughts on how do you see the future of work. And I know this is connected to your heart, this topic. How do you see the future?
I'll keep it connected to that empathy. I think that, I don't know the way to do it yet, but if we all had an empathy meter, I think you would see that it's risen right now, that we've become more socially conscious of
Mhm.
things going on in communities that we live in. I think we're more aware of the workforce that's there. And what I hope is that that empathy will continue and actually allow us to begin transforming the way people and work connect at a different level. I think that it is allowing us to, if you take the neurodiverse community, um, it's a community that has often struggled with the idea of an interview.
Mhm.
But when given an opportunity, has proven themselves to be exceptionally strong in coding.
Mhm.
So you've seen some organizations say, we're going to stop the interview and we're going to give people kind of almost an internship to show what you can do and open up a different pathway. That's an empathetic view of what's possible. It's going to mean organizations have to be more effective in measuring and defining what is work going forward, whether I use automation to do that, whether I use a human being to do that, whether I use an internal workforce or an external workforce, defining what we want to get done, and giving freedom to the individuals to deliver the outcome, not the number of hours or minutes in a day that it takes to do each of the tasks. So I think we'll see many more organizations become focused on outcomes versus on rote transactions that are there. And certainly there are exceptions. If you are working in a production line, the efficiency of that productivity and the consistency of what we're doing, those are all clearly going to be measures along the way. But I think organizations are going to have to work to get the most out of their workforce and their entire workforce, internal and external, full-time, part-time, gig. And those organizations who figure that out, I think you're going to see as the winners as we come into this new economy that we're all living through the creation of.
Yeah. No, great. I have one more question. I just saw a message, and I think I have to ask you this question. 2020, working from home or from office, do I now work from home in 2021? What are your thoughts? What is going to happen working from home? And this is Alan, who was on our previous show. Also another thought leader. So please share your thoughts. 2020 is this. 20. What is? How do
Yeah,
you see that
I,
evolving?
I feel bad on this one because Alan, when I had my office in New York, when I was coming up, I had a couch in the office, and I spent plenty of nights in my office. My couch is I actually have a couch right over there. So I think that just as work life has merged, that's our reality today. Whether you want to say you're working from home or you're living at work, um, I think those are personal choices of what's there. I would hope that we find more time for our life than for our work. But
Yeah.
what I'm equally excited about is that in today's economy, um, you've heard people refer to it as a gig economy. I prefer the passion economy. I think we have a lot more people doing things that they love to do. And that way, where I'm doing it from doesn't matter. If I thoroughly am enjoying it, I'm finding the balance that's right for me. And the right for me is not going to be the right for Zule. It's not going to be the right for you, Nish. It's going to be the right for me.
Yeah.
And I would hope that more people have the opportunity to do what's right for them, work in the way they want, how I want, where I want, when I want. We actually refer to that as human agility. So next time we talk, I'll take you through the whole hierarchy of human agility. I think there's some really cool things around the ways that people are going to be working going forward.
That's what I really love about you. Every time when I talk to you, I learn something new. Would love to chat about human agility and some of the other topics. I wish there was more time, but we want to be sensitive to all our viewers. But thank you so much. Thank you for your thought leadership. Thank you for coming to the show and sharing your thoughts on how consumer trend is mandating all of us for empathy when we are working with our workforce. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. And thank you everyone for joining today's show. And we will continue talk about empathy, employment, innovation, continue bringing some of the great leaders from the industry and share what's happening and how do we see the future of work. So again, John, thank you. Thank you. Zule, thank you so much for all your work.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.